everybody. I am so excited because I have my best friend in the whole wide world here. My brother from another mother. No, cut that out, Nathan.
No, don't cut it out, Nathan.
Come on.
I love it. No, leave that shit in. Sorry.
The most beautiful blue eyes I have ever seen. It's horrid. I hate it. I love it. Zach and I have been friends for an eternity.
Yes.
At least 10 years now, isn't it?
Too long.
Yeah. So yes, I'm very, we've sung together countless times at this point, at least 10. So
it was really weird. Yeah. A lot of the main stage stuff you got, I would also have a weird supporting role in. Yeah.
And then we both left the opera world pretty soon after, like within, I would say, I think I left 1 year before you, and then you left the year after.
Yeah.
And now you're like cruising. You're doing acting, and you're in commercials, and you're in short films, and you're working your way. And soon, you will invite me to the Golden Globes.
Yes, that is the goal.
That's the trajectory.
That's my 5-year plan. Actually, start acting 5 years later, get the Golden Globes.
It happened, people.
It's usually how it works. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hear that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had a very hi internet. I have a very similar story to Marco. We went to fancy schmancy school for singing, and we both did a lot of fancy schmancy apprentice stuff afterwards. Marco had a very fancy place he went to after, and I made up for that by going to just about every regional company and apprenticing there. I think it was like 10 summers of apprenticeships for me. Like, if you include every single apprenticeship I ever did undergrad through,
that's just so much.
It's so much, man. It's a lot.
Like, talk about burnout.
No, yeah. There was 2020 was like a sweet release.
What? Yeah, I don't have to go somewhere.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. It just gave me enough time. It just gave me enough time to think about it and think about what I really wanted,
Yeah.
But yeah, internet. Marco's finally reached the bottom of the barrel. I'm his best friend. This is where we are now. Leave this in. This is what it's come to.
I was desperate. I needed somebody to come on the show. So
yeah.
As some people lovingly call it a podcast, and I go, it's not a podcast, it's a YouTube channel. There's a fucking difference. I was intrigued because you have a basic understanding of video games, but you also like super don't, because you have your own addictive tendencies, and you prioritize your career over turning video games into a career, and then doing the complete opposite. So you have healthy boundaries with video games, whereas I decided to have it envelop my entire being.
I do. I do
those boundaries.
Yes. Yeah. I do and I don't. Marco knows very well that if I am introduced to a game and I start playing it, I tend to 100% the game. Like the last games I played were during COVID. It was Ghost of Tsushima and Final Fantasy Remake. And I think the one that Marco's most proud of is he introduced me to Witcher 3 in the middle of my Arizona Opera apprenticeship. And I disappeared.
You did this
for 3 months, man.
I feel like you finished the story within like 3 weeks.
I did. And then I was just collecting Gwent cards and armor. And I don't know what I was doing. I was just living a different life at that point.
One time I checked my playtime on that, and it was like 450 hours. And it's funny because if I go back now, I'm like, I don't want to play this. Like, this game disgusts me. I love it. It's like my favorite game of all time, right? So like, I don't think I've ever put I think there's only been like 3 games in my entire life I've committed that much time. It was Witcher 3, Rainbow Six Siege for some odd reason that I also made you buy that you absolutely were not into.
No, I
don't know why.
Destroyed.
I was like, here, play this. And then it was Final Fantasy 14. And then Red Dead Redemption, I'd put over 100 and some odd hours over the course of a year in Call of Duty. And Red Dead Redemption 2, I hit 130 hours in 2 weeks. So anyway, so we're here because I want to prime you and sort of share with you what you've been missing for the past couple years, because like a bunch of stuff that you haven't been like privy to that I feel you would really enjoy, and some stuff that maybe you know and some stuff you don't know. So that's my goal, is to sort of, it's just two former opera singers listening to video game music sort of for the first time.
Just two bros hanging out, internet.
Just
get over it.
Hanging, yeah. But don't get over it. Stay and watch the video.
Oh yeah, do that.
Yeah, don't leave. But
and click the follow and click the map.
Stop. We don't say that anymore. It's bad.
Okay. Sorry.
So you said before that you really like drums, and there's a game that came out last year called Blasphemous 2, which was a sequel to Blasphemous. This game features a lot of heavy Catholic influence, like very Spanish Gothic architecture and design. And the fight, it's essentially a Metroidvania. So it plays a little bit like Metroid, and it also has that Castlevania feel to it, where you're constantly exploring new chambers and traversing around and having to remember where you were and backtracking and so on and so forth. And one of the fights, it's a boss fight. The song is called Subida Calagrifia di Plata, and it's literally just a drum fight. It's very interesting, and I found it really, really weirdly provocative, even without the context, which I don't necessarily think you need to feel the emotion. So imagine a boss fight with just this music. It's just rhythmic pattern. It's fascinating.
I love war drums.
Yeah. You already start to feel it picks up in rhythm here, in tempo.
I love those. This really gets the adrenaline going. I want to flip the table right now. I am like amped up.
Here's that big fast tempo pivot. So when you hear that,
God.
yeah, what do you think? What do you think about that when you hear it? Like, what do you see with your mind's eye?
Yeah, in my mind's eye, I definitely see it. I mean, it's so evocative. These are the two cultures I think of. I think of Celtic drumming, and I think of Japanese war drumming. And it's hard to keep those two cultures out of my mind's eye, but I imagine, lines of ancient warriors standing in a line about to take a battlefield together. I imagine guys covered in mud that have walked all day to get to the battlefield that are about to take each other's heads off. I mean, it's so visceral. It's so simple, and yet there is something I think so deeply human about war drumming. Just because I imagine it's been around as long as we've been around, right? I mean, I have no idea about other cultures. It's just those two that come into my mind. But
I think it's a really interesting point because it's easy to perceive it as like sort of boring, especially if you don't see what's happening in the game, right? But the beautiful thing is that in the simplicity of it, if we allow ourselves to go somewhere with it, regardless of context or not, like you can really like take it to a whole nother level, and that music can like sort of invigorate this sort of like intrinsic human quality, especially because the drumming has been around for thousands of years. That quality of facing an adversary, or like I really think about it like making a decision or standing strong in the face of adversity or whatever. You really feel like there's a poise to it that's really like, and especially when it builds up a tempo like that, because it's just the same rhythmic pattern, but then we get to near that middle end and we have that sort of sped up section. It's interesting. Yeah.
I'm not boring at all. Like just that just layering those patterns and heightening the intensity. I think my heart is actually beating faster than it was when the video started. And that's not even me pretending. Like, I just think that's a natural human response to hearing drums like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you were talking about, they've been around for thousands of years. Long we've been standing upright and fighting each other, they've probably been around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And they've served a purpose in actual battle. So I find it really smart and cool that they chose to include this in the game.
The gaming portion of things, like this is all fine motor skills. We're usually using our hands,
right?
Sometimes other things, but usually just our hands to like play the game. And that music makes me want to like throw something. I think it gets the heart moving, which I think gets me into a place of unease or ready to fight, which makes me actually worse at the fine motor skills part.
Right. Because
so it's like, yeah. So like if I'm playing the game, I actually hate that music because I'm like, oh God, actually like it's such an anxiety zone that I can't do the thing.
Yeah. We'll keep it in this vein, but it's slightly different, much more melodic now. We're going to move over to Monster Hunter World, Pride of a Nameless Hunter. One of the best themes I've heard in a long time. These are leitmotifs from the game. Like, that's a leitmotif. It just kind of ties everything together.
This is so interesting. It's very east meets west.
Yeah.
This is very Celtic once again. You had that little penny whistle sound from everything.
I mean, do you know Monster Hunter at all? Do you like know?
No, I have never played Monster Hunter. I have a ton of friends that play Monster Hunter. I am fully aware that it's a very popular game, or game series. Yeah, that's fascinating. It sounds very, like it sounds very Eastern. Like the scales that they use sound very Eastern, and then the orchestration sounds very Western, which is like I think something that happens with. Is this a Japanese composer? Yeah, it happens a lot with Japanese composers. I think I'm a big Studio Ghibli, however you want to say it, fan. I say Ghibli all the time, and I feel like a lot of those soundtracks kind of walk that line too, where it feels like a meeting of two cultures or a meeting of many cultures in one kind of sound. So cool.
I mean, the premise of the game is, going to a new place and discovering the flora and fauna and killing and murdering monsters and capturing them and using their pellets as skin and using their skin as, armor. And that's the loop. The gameplay loop is you go out in the wild, you kill the monster, you craft parts from the monster, and then you go back out and you just keep doing that. And that's the gameplay loop. It's incredibly addictive. You would love it. But what I really like about that particular song is how melodically focused it is and how melodically driven it is. And I feel like, when we look at melody, ba da ba da ba da 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 ba da 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 da, which is actually the Proof of the Hero motif. Proof of a Hero is basically the Superman theme of the Monster Hunter series. It's incredible. And it's a song about galvanization, about rising up, and it's about, saying I'm off to do my duty, as it were. And I'm, I have pride, pride of a nameless hunter is, the real sense of yes, I am here. I'm going to go and do my job, and I love my job, but it also is like, but it's beyond that too. The scope feels much more grandiose and much more about like what it means. It's almost philosophical, even though at its bare bones, it's the game is what I described it as. It's interesting to me.
Yeah, it does make you, and I think that kind of sound it's so heroic and such a mashup of a lot of different components that it feels entirely new. You're standing on a cliff overlooking some like windswept valley. You're about to start off on some new adventure. Yeah.
It's a good one. I've been really in the mood for galvanizing songs lately. Something I listened to recently that I think you would like because of it's got a lot of sensitivity is The Secret.
I am a very sensitive man. Sorry, one more time. What was it? Secret of something?
It's The Secret of Mana Remake's intro music, which is beautiful.
Okay.
Not something you want to listen to at the gym, which is where I listen to it.
I'm immediately into this.
Right.
Love that. I'm a sucker for low strings, baby.
Yeah, and I love piano, so.
Oh, so good. That's a Square Enix game. Yeah. You know exactly when you boot that up, you know exactly what you're in for. Like there's a deep undercurrent of emotion there that I feel like, I don't know, when I was growing up was not common in games. I'm old enough that like Final Fantasy 7 and 6 and 7 were like the first Squaresoft, Square Enix games that I played. And there is such a commitment to telling a fully rounded emotional story in those games that you didn't get a lot of places at the time in video games. And like listening to that, like it immediately is like, take me seriously. I'm going to take you on an adventure. Yes. But that adventure is also going to make you feel things, and you got to be okay with that. That is so, yeah, it's just like a sumptuous, romantic feast of sound. I love it so much.
Yeah,
that is 10 out of 10. I should be giving all of these number ratings
if you want.
People yell at me later.
He gave that a 5. Yeah, no, it's true though. It's so beautiful, and I think we've really entered. I mean, we've been in the age of where video games. You know, it's funny because I think popular culture still just doesn't understand the nuance, and you know, especially this conversation about beeps and boops and video game music and what it means, and how, like, you know, essentially video game music being the programmatic music that it is, it's imperative to telling story, and it's required in a lot of ways. It's modern opera, minus the fact that we don't sing every note, but like, you know, with the Secret of Mana main theme, you know exactly what you're getting. Like you said, you understand that yes, there will be the tropes of heroes and villains, and the hero will triumph and all the other stuff, and like there'll be twists and turns, but it's a far cry from some other games at the time, you know, in the early 90s, where it was like a very gameplay was front and center. And I agree with you that Square Enix and, you know, really thrust the idea of telling a true emotional story that was front and center. There were actual stakes and, you know, responsibility of you as a character, and, you know, and that's a fun, interesting pivot now to this particular theme, which you will also love, I think. This is composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, and it's Chrono Trigger, Shala's theme, which I played through Chrono Trigger recently, and it blew me away, and it really holds up beautifully. And it's kind of it's short but not too short. It's an incredible game, and this music just is just so poignant.
Love that. I love that little like raindrop drum.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's strophic too. Incredibly simple in that way. But isn't it interesting? To me, what really strikes me, and obviously, well, actually, why don't you go first? I'd love to know what you think of. I'd love to know what you think about that, especially the melody, and then also if you can remember it, the counter melody, because I find those two for me are the most interesting parts of that.
I think. Well, first of all, it's like chicken soup, the '90s kid's soul. Like there is kind of like there's something that is deeply comforting about that whole genre. I mean, like this isn't quite 8-bit soundtrack, but it's like kind of in the retro game verse. I feel like, yeah. And that is such a, yeah, it's comforting. I love it's almost like, it's like, I don't know, like candy or popcorn. You keep wanting to hear the same thing over and over and over again. And I don't know how they achieve that. It's just like a really good and stimulating soundscape that they've crafted. As far as the melody and counter melody, I think you should talk about that because I was too busy listening to the boom, 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 like over and over and over again.
It's interesting. That's an interesting point, though. It's interesting what one picks up, and for me, what's really interesting to me is that the like oboe, let's say, the way that it ascends up to me is a real like feels like an outcry, and it feels really, because of its range, it feels very vulnerable and very innocent and very, very somber. But the drums give it this sort of like silent determination, even though, you know,
or even like a playfulness. Sorry to interrupt. Just like there's like a counteraction there, because you're right. These melodies almost sound like noir, like kind of like Blade Runner or something, where you got this kind of like ennui and longing, and then underneath you have something that's kind of goofy or something that's a little more playful.
Maybe that kind of childlike aspect of it.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, you said exactly what I was thinking, and I needed to remark on.
And it's all right. I mean, you know, Shala is watching her mother sort of make the wrong decision, so to speak. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but she's making essentially a world-ending decision. But anyway, and so she's kind of left there to just be like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm losing my mom, and like, how do I, you know, sort of win her back? And her theme, it's just so. I think it's very tender, and it's very evocative of like her desperation, but it's also about like her willingness to try to find an alternate route and trust a bunch of strangers. I really like I like that you don't need to know that in order for it to feel really deep. And yes, context matters, but I also think that like it truly is a sublime piece of music without the context.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you pick up on that conflict of emotion. Maybe that's what we're remarking on here, is you have this world that is very serious coming in through the top, and then underneath is this percolating kind of childlike attitude that counteracts it in a way.
Yeah, it's a beautiful theme, and again, it's like that touch point of the 90s that you and I both know so well, and it's so.
I love. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. I'm a terrible guest.
No, they don't want me. They don't want you. They don't want me to talk anyway. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to add, like, Akira Toriyama's animation style and for the characters of this game. It's just in the thumbnail of the track we listened to. Like that even adds to, I mean, Dragon Ball was such a big part of my childhood. I love Dragon Ball Z. I used to run home to watch it. So adding Akira Toriyama's like art style with that whole soundscape even hit me harder. Sorry, go ahead.
Zach, you should play Chrono Trigger. I mean, that's an easy way to get, and it's only 30 hours. Even if you did everything, it wouldn't be like it wouldn't be a major commitment. It wouldn't be like the games that you've played where you like.
This is what you always say.
But you love this style and you love retro, so I feel like you would be right at home with this. But anyway, we'll find a way to get it done. I'm seeing you soon. You never know.
He's just going to leave a console and a game at my house plugged in on the starting screen.
If this goes out in April, you'll be knee deep in the Chrono Trigger. Anyway, moving right along. Something else that's really nostalgic for people is World of Warcraft. It just celebrated 19 years of being out, which is insane. And I just dove into it pretty hardcore. And I'm still playing it, although my brain has been a little occupied with a little game called Warframe. But Grizzly Hills was maybe something that you played back in the day, but this is one of the areas from World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King.
I remember very little, but I was definitely a Tauren shaman for about 3 months in high school. So let's do this.
You would be a Tauren shaman.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. But the Grizzly Hills is deeply nostalgic for many, many people. And there's a phenomenal use of the nickel harpa here, which is, it has this beautifully evocative sound quality. And the Grizzly Hills, located in southeastern Northrend, is a forested area surrounded by the Howling Fjord to the south, the Dragonblight to the west, and Zuldrak to the north. It is the homeland of the Grizzlemaw Forbolgs. Over 20,000 Forbolgs live in the zone, mostly in the large settlement of Grizzlemaw, both the dwarven settlement of Thor, Modan, and Ice Troll Skirt. What the fuck does any of this mean? It's very deep, though. What's crazy is that, like, it is similar to other forests during wintertime, except that winter here is year-round. The trees are tall and thick. The pine needles are crisp. Clean air produces a pleasant scent. The snow leaves the ground clear and clean and fresh. And the hills themselves are high enough for decent elevation, but low enough and gradual enough to be easily climbed. It's one of the nicest regions in Northrend.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Little French horn action.
Man, that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And that clarinet comes in.
Oof. Shades of Aaron Copland here. Sounds very American somehow.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I like how the woodwinds represent the, like, trees.
Yeah.
Let's stop there before we get teleported to another dimension, because that's like, and I think that's really the appeal. WoW does ambient sound better than most games, I would say, and there's something about melody is a beautiful thing, and like I really view it as two different ways, and just in my gaming experience, melody is for the player, ambient is for the environment. And I don't know. We were watching the video there, but my God, like just you really feel like this like eternal peace. It's fascinating how evocative and deeply like the heart just like it feels like you fills up when you listen to that. It's crazy.
Yeah, really it is, and such a great selection of instruments or that kind of, if you're trying to create a place like the Grizzly Hills, which I doubt I ever visited, but like you're trying to imagine this place that's rugged and maybe it's hard to exist there. And they chose the fiddle, like you get violin played in this kind of jumping around style that's very evocative of the Appalachian Mountains here in the United States. And you get French horns underneath, which kind of underscore this sense that nature is huge and vast and untamable, unconquerable. And then like you said earlier, the woodwinds come in for the trees and everything. It's a very well-crafted selection of sounds. And you immediately feel like you're in this place where it's beautiful, but if you're not careful, it'll tame you as opposed to you taming it.
Yeah. It also feels like the people are really rugged, but their hearts are really big. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I just picture this, like, oh, what are you doing over here?
Yeah.
All right, I'll help you. You know, I don't know. It's just like very like I don't know. It's funny. That's beautiful. God, I have not listened to that. That is sublime.
1000%. It feels like you could walk into like a small village and people would take you in and give you dinner, and at the same time it'd be snowing outside at one point. You know,
there's like a giant axe hanging on the. But you walk in, you're like, oh, I'm a lumberman. You know.
Yeah, I'll go outside at night. There's bears.
Yeah. All right, let's pivot to something else. This is a really great theme. Try not to look, well, you're going to because of this, but try not to look at the character screen if possible. Try not to look at the screen.
You want me to just hear it?
Yeah, maybe just click on the link. Tell me when you're clicking the link, and then we'll just go and just try not to just try to like scroll up or something because that's.
I'm going to try to cover the screen.
All right, I'm sending you the link right now. And I will have the music ready to go, and I'll just see you on the other side. Okay?
Is this good content?
No.
Okay.
but we'll make it work. It'd be better if you just scroll up, if possible. Yes. No, this is not good content. Let's be clear.
Yeah, we got sound.
Okay.
Now I'm looking at you.
League music is shockingly good. You wouldn't think it. It's insane.
Oh no, we got some metal bass.
Yeah.
If someone starts screaming, I am going to jump up. That's the growl.
All right, it's over. You can look.
Okay. I'm not gonna look.
That's
I'm not gonna look. Okay, his name is Atrax?
The Darkened Blade.
Okay, well, that gives me a little bit of a clue. I was going to say, based on what I heard, we got either a guy who is straight up bad or some sort of anti-hero. We get our war drums back, and we get that awesome heavy metal kind of bass, which tells me that there may be this... Maybe they're a bruiser, or they're physically imposing in some way. I think that's reinforced by the fact that we have all these low tones.
Yeah,
low tones in the track, which usually, for some reason, people, I don't know, we as human beings, or if it's culture or whatever it is, we associate low with gigantic for some reason. If there's a lot of like bass and low brass going on, you feel like there's something huge coming at you. So I'm going to guess bad guy, physically imposing, maybe huge. Yeah. That's a very off-putting sequence of tones.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know, knowing kind of vaguely about League of Legends, I think it's maybe some sort of dark omen, dark magic type situation. All right, tell me about this thing.
Well, Aatrox is actually like in a blade, in a weapon, and then he like emerged. This is the song, if I recall correctly, and I'm sure some League expert will post about it in the comments. He emerges from the blade, and what we hear is like that sort of arrival onto the scene, like, here I am, motherfuckers, you know what I mean? I'm ready to play, and he uses the blade as a weapon. And he is the weapon. So I can't remember but yeah, I've been pretty much accurate. Like, there is, he's a demon, a darkened form, and so on and so forth. And that's as much as I can give you. If you want to see more, feel free to check out the video on marcomeatball.com or YouTube. Guessing who Aatrox, the Darkened Blade, is from League of Legends. Yeah, it's something like that, though. And essentially he emerges out, and there's obviously, I think it's sonorally, it's quite violent. It has a real quality of malignance, and
I'm looking at his picture now. Holy God. Yeah. He definitely looks like he's not fun to hang out with.
Yeah, no, he doesn't seem like a buddy. But yeah, you did good. See, it's the power of music. We can like tell stories from music sometimes if we're lucky.
Definitely.
Let's pivot to something similar, but definitely different. And let's go over to this song from Genshin Impact. It's called All Devouring Narwhal.
That's my theme every morning before my coffee. Dun 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 dun. My wife was like, "How are you?" And I'm like, God, my God.
Yeah. I remember those days. This is a giant narwhal from a different dimension.
I love it. Yeah, once again, a low synth and a low brass.
Scythe.
Yeah.
love the trumpets there.
I love that.
It's got Night on Bald Mountain vibes for sure.
Yeah, definitely. God, I love low brass.
Mm-hmm. Here, let's pause there and we'll pivot to the second section because the second section's crazy.
Completely different vibe.
Operatic strings music is crazy.
How does anyone play this game? I'd just be dancing this whole time.
Isn't that nuts? It's fun.
That's the same character?
It's the same. It's a difference. You're inside the narwhal at that point.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. The first part, like, yeah, definitely more kind of traditional or like orchestral sounds going on.
Yeah.
A lot of low brass. Adding the human voice or the choir to something always makes something feel like it is so powerful it needs to be respected.
Right.
And I don't know if that is connected to a lot of like that sounded like kind of religious music almost like almost like you would hear in a at a mass or something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where that comes from, that idea that of being in a place that needs respect.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore you add it to something that's powerful. Anyway, but yeah, but the second part, like, whoa, what's going on there? Are you like, do you get taken to just a completely different world, or it's just like all of a sudden you're in a rave and it's awesome. And I love also the use of the human voice in that. Like adding a legit singer over the top of all that is wild. Love it.
It's just crazy because it's also in the peak of the range. So it's like, and it's so visceral because of that height, I think, where it's not as effective if it's lower. You know, like having that sort of like, because we understand that singing, that primal scream element of it, it really like thrusts it into like, yeah, you're right. That powerhouse area. Mm-hmm. Let's pivot to something in a similar vein. Let's go to. You're a big Warhammer guy these days, aren't you?
I am.
I love it delayed, so you say it and then I see it. It's funny. So I saw your shame both in the voice and then in the face. So it was great.
Yeah. I've spent way too much money on plastic. For those of you that are Warhammer people, you'll understand that. I gave up video games to start farming plastic.
Are you painting in the basement?
Yeah. You want me to show you my guys? I'll bring them out.
I can't wait to see it. Not now, probably. No, I'll see them in person. I gotta bring my magnifying glass so I can see all the fine details.
Yeah, do that.
All your Adeptus Mechanicus that you've been painting down there.
Adeptus Custodes, thank you very much.
All your
Cavill be praised.
Got any rogue traders down there? Anyway, I just gave you a link. This is from Darktide. It's dope AF. And then we'll listen to the Warhammer 40k Mechanicus, Children of the Old Messiah.
That is, yeah, definitely. That beat, it's awesome. First of all, I haven't heard anything yet this whole session that I've been like, meh. I think I love like that, just that beat, just like we got terrible things to do and it's not going to look pretty, but we got to do them. Yeah, we got to do the thing. And then you have like auspices of grandeur in the background with the choir, kind of that setting of Warhammer that is so kind of fantastic, where you have brutalism in counterpoint with this like high gothic art style that is like amazing. It's great here in the music too. It's awesome.
Yes, let's listen to Children of the Old Messiah. Totally different. It's actually in some ways I prefer it. It's so unique. It's wonderful. Let me know when you're ready with that.
Messiah be praised. Yes. This is so mechanicus.
I mean, what's not to love? So good.
Oh, I love the synth. I love electronic music.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
This oscillating ostinato organ.
That. Oh man, that hits me right in my Warhammer soul. I don't play mechanicus, but that makes me want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this the Mechanicus lore. I'm sure you've told your audience about Mechanicus lore at one point, but yeah,
Oh, yeah, no, they told me. I don't know anything about Mechanicus. They told me.
Yeah, the idea that machines are living, and there's the Omnissiah, all that stuff. That's all right. That fusion of kind of religious zealotism with something like things that are not even human, that are purely mechanical, is right there in the music. I love those like Hollywood. I love those noises. You put that in anything, and there's something, it tickles the back of my brain. Love it so much. Yeah. That's another 10 out of 10 right there.
It's a 10. I mean, the thing is, it's like also like a minute and a half long. It's just nuts. It's nuts how good it is.
I could put that on a loop, and my ADHD brain would just love that. I could just sit here and paint with that on loop in the background for hours and hours. Thank you for introducing me to that. I will play that again.
Yeah. It's called Children of the Omnissiah. So speaking of something that's in the similar range, Phantom Liberty, which was the DLC for Cyberpunk 2077, just came out, and it was one of the most painful games I've actually ever played. It was equal measure uncomfortable as it was for Red Dead Redemption 2 for me, just in terms of like just loss and intensity of that loss, and actually in particular case with Phantom Liberty, actively participating in someone's choice, as you know, the player's choice affects other characters directly. And this particular track, Never Looking Back, was easily one of my most played. It came out in like July. No, I can't remember, but it became one of my most listened to tracks, and I hope you enjoy it, because I know it's visceral. And then we'll pivot to something different. We'll pivot to the vocal corner of this. Oh,
Yeah, that it just sounds like you're in for a hard time.
yeah, exactly, right? Your life's fucked.
Let's see. Yeah, it seems like we're about to take you someplace that is gonna test you, but you're gonna be enthralled the whole way. Yeah, not a lot of like deeply emotional. Like there's something about, once again, counterpoint, putting low synth and low tones, and then having what sounds like children or high sopranos singing over the top. This sense of like innocence that's almost being lost in this shifting sea of dark, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a loss of naivete, a loss of trust, a loss of understanding, a loss of like connection. Something about the vocal screaming, like we talked about earlier. This idea of, you know, and especially here, they call this white singing because it's there's no vibrato, and it's from a real like throaty sort of projected. It's very interesting actually because it's a Slavic thing. And I'm sure other cultures do it too, but there's something so like an outcry about it that is, I don't know, this song is haunting to me. I actually like fell into a trance when I was listening to that. It's so intense. And I felt intense so it's interesting because in context, so I'm always a proponent of not listening to music in context. I personally like all the Studio Ghibli movies. I listened to all that stuff before, and then when I heard it in the movie, I was like, I love this motif because I'd heard it a lot. But I might be weird because I don't. This affected me out of context, and then in context, it was terrible. It was like one of the most like depressing things I've ever played. In fact, it was almost not enjoyable how powerful it was. But it's like the Walter White thing where you like watch him slowly become what he is, and it's like I enjoyed that show because I'm like the whole time I'm like, well, this kind of sucks because I'm watching this guy fuck his entire life up. I
gotta say, that is definitely what this. It's definitely those vibes. I binged Breaking Bad instead of watching it episodically. It's one of the greatest shows of all time.
Yeah,
but when you binge it, it almost becomes intolerable. It's because of how dark it turns and how bad his life gets at certain points. And this is kind of the same thing where I can tell something is happening that I should be deeply uncomfortable with.
Yeah. It's incredible how music can evoke those feelings and give players and people that are experiencing it a sort of like a lift, because I think the stuff in game is very powerful, but having this into it, I think it like elevates, and I think that's the beauty of music in general, is just to be able the capacity to elevate the life experience.
Take a
more experienced.
Take a dramatic situation and make it art in a way,
right?
Not
Yeah. All right, let's pivot to Ooh. The song, I'm going to save the song for the end. It's 13 minutes. This will be worth it. I've been playing a lot of
Donkey Kong.
Believe it or not, I don't really necessarily care for Donkey Kong. I'm a Mario Yoshi through with Die Hard.
Well, I'm not talking about the new ones. You like Donkey Kong Country, right? Like 2? We can't be friends anymore. This is the end. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody. We'll see. I did not like Donkey Kong Country 2.
Okay.
I found it deeply frustrating, especially the levels. Jumping out, hitting the barrel to get Diddy Kong, the cart missions. No, I hate that shit. I picked up Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and I played on the Switch. I played like 30 minutes of it and I said never again. I can't. Great music though. Really good music. Let's do this. Let's just pivot into the opera corner of this. So opera, actually, there's a lot of opera in video games, and it's represented fairly well. There are some very bad singers at times, but this particular example and the next one and then the one after that, are fantastic. This is Nostalgia Phantasm from an MMORPG called Lost Ark. And this is a live performance, and this soprano is ungodly good. It's basically just Verdi Requiem mixed with Carmina Burana. At this point, I feel most composers, except for another example I'm going to play for you, are usually trying to emulate those two pieces, for better or for worse. Usually for better.
슬픔, 불안, 절망, 공포. 아스텔지어가 시작되리라.
Yeah, there's your Verdi.
Exactly. It's great.
Yeah.
Gets better.
Wow. Yeah, indistinguishable from a from like an oratorio that would have been written in the 1800s, like that, or 1900s. That was like that was exactly like the Verdi Requiem in so many ways. Obviously the orchestration's a little different. I saw a drum set, some keyboards back there.
It's a bit beefier for sure.
Yeah, but that is you can sit that right down next to a lot of oratorios in as far as the style goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? That like that's such like we still live in a world where like if I were to present that to somebody, they might be like, "Well, that's from a video game," but it's like, well, listen to it; it's the same. It's just,
yeah. I wish. I love the Dies Irae motif at the beginning of that. The voices kind of descending. Just really kind of it evokes like wrath and terror all at the same time. I deeply enjoyed that. I thought the lead singer was just wonderful. Really solid singing. Very like legitimately fantastic classical technique out of her, which is it always been. I love seeing performers that have found this niche outside of. You and I came from the classical music realm and both know the deep pits of despair that it can exist on that side of things. I'm not going to say they always do, but they can.
Some people love it.
Yeah, and performers that find their way to still use their voice in that way, but outside of classical music, in things like this, like that is so admirable. Like kudos to her, and kudos to that. I don't know if your audience would see the video that we just watched. Yeah, kudos to that girl who was just rocking the cosplay the whole time, just had to stay committed for the whole song, just moving her hands.
The thing that no one knows is that you're up there and you're like, okay. Like it's not dramatic. Yes, she heard the music, so she got into it. But like chances are, she's like, okay, here's the part where I do.
Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes at least of that. As an actor, I would die. Like 5 minutes of just like me moving my hand, and I'm not nearly as graceful as her, but like me moving my hands for 5 minutes. Eventually, I would just be like,
"Yeah,
how much time? How?" Yeah, and he's smooth with it.
All right, this is the part. All right, so in the same vein, we're going to pivot to two other tracks that are like this. The first one is going to be Raphael's final act from Baldur's Gate 3. I know you don't need to know what this is, especially as a tabletop gamer yourself and a D&D person yourself. Obviously, this is the definitive, I would say there's a couple others, but this is the definitive sort of D&D game that has come out. Obviously, it swept the world by storm for multiple different reasons, not only because it's narratively interesting, unlimited options, essentially. No one playthrough will ever be the same. Not only that, but you also have great music and really just so much customization. It might as well just be Dungeons and Dragons just on a video game. It is, it's as real as it gets. And this particular scene, well, I don't think it's going to need too much explanations for me, for you, but yeah, let's listen to it.
Lives, oh mortal lives, expire. Souls go to their dooms in flame forevermore.
I love a pipe organ.
It's giving you Faust Act 3 all day.
Yeah.
Hell has its laws. Hell Effect in
What's
the
happening?
pause, curtain falls, but hold your applause. Squirm, squirm, for now down here come the claws.
Is this a musical? What's happening? This is Hamilton.
Lives, all mortal lives, expire. Souls go to their dooms in flame forevermore.
Fools, fools, how hard you have fought. Brave, brave, but it's all been for naught. True souls
that you?
that couldn't be taught, doomed, detected, and caught. No more deals, it's over. The final act, you're doomed. No more grace, it's over. This house of hope, you're doomed.
10 guesses who's singing.
Is it Raphael?
Who might Raphael be in your mind? Having heard of that. It's the devil.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Is that during a cutscene? Like what?
No, it's during the fight with Raphael. He starts singing his own song.
What?
And apparently you can silence him with D&D magic, and he won't sing. He mutes. Yeah, it's a Disney musical moment. It's giving you Jeremy Irons. It's giving you Hercules.
Yeah,
80s. Yeah, it's Raphael is singing. Hell has his claws.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to like play a game when that's going on. I want to be like watching that, just because I don't know, somebody's speaking that emphatically. You don't want to be clicking buttons at the same time.
Yeah, right.
All right, I'm gonna receive. I know this is a popular game. I know this is the most successful game of the last year, and I've heard that it is very, very good. All that in mind, that was my least favorite of the day.
Oh, damn. Why?
Yeah. And it's because it's kind of like a salad of nothing. Like, it's kind of like they wanted to do, like, there's fantasy elements. Like, you have the woman singing, which is kind of like folk song in a certain way. There's grandiose kind of choir sounds and pipe organ sounds in the background. I love all those individually, but then you throw them all together and it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like Moulin Rouge with less personality somehow for me.
It comes across as pastiche, is what you're saying.
Yeah, just it doesn't take. I don't care. Find me, internet. Come at me. It doesn't commit in any one direction strong enough that I would care to listen to it again. And that's weird because I audition for Buddy Musicals now. I work with musical theater, like in the realm of musical theater now more than ever. And I love musical theater music and show tunes. And that is probably the furthest from the mark that I've heard today. I don't know why.
That's very interesting.
It's like that spoken word thing over the top. Like, it demands attention, but it's not giving me enough to really hold my attention. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Do you think it's one of those things that if you heard it in the game that you would like it, or do you feel like it's one of those things where, because that's the argument that folks may say is like, well, he didn't hear it in the context, so how's he going to enjoy it the right way?
Well, that very well might be. You hear it.
It's essential, right, to like the plot. And
there's plenty of show tunes out there that I like just because I can think of the situation in the show where that song happens. But you listen to it without that context and man,
Yeah.
maybe this falls into that category. But yeah, that being said, that is my least favorite of the day.
Man, I hope people call you a music snob like they did to me. Ugh, that would feel so good.
Come at me, internet. I don't care.
Okay, we know you worked out. Perfect. Let's pivot to something similar. Actually, this is a game that literally died. I'm going to do a video essay on this, and maybe it's already out by the time I film this. But like Babylon's Fall died upon entry, and it has one of the best classical soundtracks I have ever heard. And we're going to listen to a song from it. Not all of it, I don't think. It's called, what's the song called? I don't even know. It's called, what is the song called? Dragon's Pride. Nice one down there, right there.
Oh, that's fun.
It's like Mozart. It's like...
Oh, I love this. Oh my God, no, listen to this.
Isn't that so good?
What a joy that is.
Isn't that so beautiful?
That is gorgeous. You said that game just was dead on arrival, so to speak.
It died. It died basically instantly. And I don't know how it has a soundtrack that's good, like that good. It's just insane.
That was so much fun. And hearing the classical voice, like good writing for the classical voice too. Like
right.
The tenor sounded like he was having a good time. And it's beautiful legato lyric singing over in that little pizzicato section where they're all kind of, it's almost classical, almost classical period, almost Mozart, but more modern, obviously. I could listen to that all day. That was awesome.
So good. Yeah, I'm just stunned at how beautiful it is and how well it's written. And I think like for us who have been in the industry and we're in the industry for so long, like, and you know, we were entrenched in classical music for so long, to hear that, even if the game didn't do well, the fact that soundtrack exists and that like someone out there heard something so classically based just makes my heart just so happy, because all that bullshit of years of doing, you know, like going to kids' schools and performing and trying to get people to come over to the opera and like understand and appreciate it, to hear that in a video game, it's like holy shit. So I it's just incredible stuff. All right, we got two more songs. One of them is from Alan Wake 2, which is one of the most popular games to come out from last year. This particular moment is essentially, and I haven't finished, so I'm not playing it, I'm watching it, because I personally don't enjoy, first of all, I don't really enjoy horror games, and then second, I'd rather just watch it because there's so many other things I have to do. But in this case, Alan Wake is in the the darkness land. Let's call it. Someone's gonna yell at me for saying that. He's
in the darkness land.
he's
Marco Meatball said the darkness land.
Okay, all right, hold on. Well, she stop that. So he's trying to write himself out of this nightmare that he's essentially living, and I don't. He's been missing for 13 years. Actually, I haven't finished it, so I don't know. But in this particular way that he's writing himself out of this moment, he decides to write himself into a musical because that's never happened before, I think. So this is called Herald of Darkness, and this is the music video for it. I was called a music snob when I first heard this at the Game Awards because I hated it when I first heard it. In fact, I said it was terrible and incredibly campy, and it's just a bunch of white dudes dancing a pretty average dance. Nothing crazy. We're not talking like the most artistic thing in the world. That's just how I feel. But I've listened to it now. I've listened to it 100 times, no joke, and I love it. It is the thing I've listened to the most at the gym most recently. I've been listening to it for 45 minutes straight because the full thing is 13 minutes. It is incredible. Now, do I think it's like, yeah, I listen, if I'm a music snob, then so be it. Like, the dance is campy. Campy's not even a bad word. At first, I thought it was terrible because I just didn't get it. And now that I understand it a little bit more, I'm like, okay, I get it. You'll see. So, it's good to have an open discourse about why we like and don't like things. I think that's
true.
Not just a music snob because, or maybe I am. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe, you know what? I am a music snob. No, not. Am I? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I don't know. Embrace it.
And in these games, in Remedy games, they often do live action.
Welcome.
Oh.
Our guest tonight is Alan Wake. This time he wanted to do something a little different. A deep dive into who he is as an artist and as a man. Where he comes from, where he draws his inspiration, what demons he wrestles
And that's the
with
creator, Sam
in
Lake.
the dark hours of the night. Together with our house band, the divine old gods of Asgard, we have created something very special for you. The song is called Herald of Darkness, but I like to call this next segment the story of the journey of Alan Wake, the musical. We just do what we always do. We'll chat, but instead of talking, we'll sing it.
From what I've gathered, you grew up nice and sheltered with mama's pretty stories and your own made-up fury. And mama gave me a magic clicker. Well, yes, I think it's true and fair to say. Come on in and listen, lost words you've been missing. Now the fire you're bearing, the eye of the darkness, your light. So you were drawn to stories early on. My dreams would light up my imagination. And you had nightmares night and day. Yeah, but with the clicker, I chased those frights away. Ooh, you! So true. So here is a clue of hope to remember. Visions, they come true. Bend the lights with steel. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness. Lost in the never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface. And all your stories of crime and
How many
killing,
turns are
murders of
there?
hard-boiled
30.
killers.
All right,
they
we'll
came
stop
back
there.
It knows what it is. They are in on the joke that it is kind of a campy show tune, like a campy rock song from the 80s, and like the whole like presentation of it makes it more successful than it would otherwise be. Like,
it's a wink, nudge, nudge, right?
Yeah, it's like they know that this is just like kind of a cringy, campy thing that they're doing, and it's just kind of a ripoff of every glam rock song you've heard from the 80s, and I think that makes it more successful in my mind, because it knows what it is, and it kind of leans into it in a way that makes you smile. I was entranced that whole time. Not because the music is particularly like complex or good in any way, but because it knows what it is, which is kind of weird and absurd and campy. Yeah. I think I said campy 5 times.
And I don't think campy is, let's be clear that like, I don't think that campy means it's bad. And I understand.
No.
Like, it's a funny thing because like I literally thought that it was terrible when I first heard it, and I wanted to understand why I felt that way, because now I actually really like it, and I listen to it all the time, and it's fun, and it like feels really good, especially when you're lifting weights. I don't know why, but so I've spent the last
baby.
I think so. And I've spent the last 3 weeks trying to understand why I feel that it was terrible at initial reaction. And I think it's because when I watched it, I saw like an out of context, like live performance. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing? But seeing it in this context and also starting to watch the gameplay and experience it, I'm like, oh, this is like silly and fun. And it's not supposed to be serious. And it's,
yes.
I think if you're a serious musician who like tries to understand the complexity of things, I think it's easy to like miss the cue, you know?
Yeah, I definitely think if I'd heard it without seeing the video, I'd have a different review. But seeing the video, it comes off like a lot of those. Do you have any like really bad movies that you like? Like they're objectively bad, but every time they come on, you're Troll 2?
Yeah, you ever seen Trolls 2? It's one of the worst movies ever. You never see that? You know what I'm talking about. You know Trolls 2. Did you forget about that movie? You ever seen that movie?
That's so unexpected. Trolls 2. Mark, every time you see Trolls 2 on TV, you're like, well, I guess I'm here. I'm watching this now.
No, I don't watch it, but like that's one of the funniest things. You ask Hunter about it next time you see him. Trolls 2, Crashed at a Glimmerglass Opera 20. It is one of the worst movies ever made. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen Trolls.
Oh, dude, in a couple weeks, man, set aside 2 hours. We're only going to watch 30 minutes of it. It is the worst fucking movie that has ever existed. It's so good. It makes me smile. Yes.
No, I was talking about movies like the Mortal Kombat from the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. I love more. Yeah.
the Godzilla movie that was made with Matthew Broderick.
I love that movie. What do you mean?
You know, like bad movies. They're not good movies, but they are. I mean, watch it again.
I mean, it's not going to win an Oscar. It did.
Exactly. But we love it because it kind of winks. It kind of knows what it is, right? It kind of knows that it's a certain level of silly, of like, don't think about this too much. Have a good time.
Yeah. It's not like you go see Godzilla -1 and it's like a pivotal, beautiful moment, and then you can...
Oh, God. -1 destroyed me, man. That might be it's kind of my favorite theater experience of this last year. Oppenheimer and Barbie included. Like, -1 was like a treat as somebody who loves Godzilla.
I felt like it was like 5 minutes too long. There was like one little corner in the middle where I was like, what time is it? But other than that, I was like in. Yeah, I agree. Anyway, that's a separate discussion. Before you go, I have one more song to play for you. But it's interesting to hear your perspective because I've been not because people insulted my who I am as a person, but because I was like, okay, well, I'm okay with being called a music snob, but I don't feel like I am because I want to like this and I don't. So what is it about it that I don't? And so I've been obsessing over listening to this piece because I want to like get it, because I feel like, and this is the thing with Remedy games, is that I often feel like I'm not in on it. It's like the first with Metal Gear Solid where it's like you either get it or you don't. And I'm like, Kojima's super campy and I don't fully understand it half the time either. So I'm like, I love Metal Gear Solid. So I'm like trying to, anyway, all that to say, like, it's just an interesting thing. It's interesting to hear your perspective because I think That's it.
I listened to like Van Halen and Def Leppard growing up, and that's kind of the vein there. And that's what they're trying to like
Rush.
hint at. Yeah.
And then the musical theater bits are very much like, we're doing musical theater.
Yeah.
Rather than like, look how serious we are doing our dance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's listen to this last song and then I'll let you go. This is from Doom, which I know you don't. Oh wait, no, sorry, I didn't send it. You're not gonna need very much explanation. You know what Doom is, and you won't know this song, but you'll be happy. Let me know when you're ready.
Let's doom it up.
It can only be one way, and I think you're already clear on which way it will go.
If we start this and there's like really heartfelt strings playing. Oh yeah. All day. Yeah.
This part's so cool.
Oh yeah.
mean, I don't need to ask you how you felt about that. I already
I love that. Was there? Well, do you know what they're saying at the end?
rip and tear.
Rip and tear. Yeah, that is the only thing I want if I'm shooting demons with a shotgun on a spaceship someplace. I like their Doom is just knows what it is at this point. It's that magical thing of like, here's the worst situation possible, except somehow everything that you're fighting is less scary than you are. Like,
you're the one guy that will kill everything.
yeah. God, that's so metal. It feels like, I don't know. You just want to like mosh to it. It's one of those things where you, once again, kind of all the way back to the first thing we listened to with those drums, like you want to like get up and move around when you're listening to stuff like that.
Yeah. It's highly inspired, and it does keep you on the edge of your toes for sure. It's awesome. Yeah. It's crazy. Well, listen, Zach, I mean, I appreciate you coming on. I know that we're like, I know video games, so what are we going to do? And I'm glad that I've sort of reintroduced you to like some of the like angles of spots that you've maybe missed, or like, shown a light on some stuff that you maybe haven't been aware of, or have been aware of but didn't fully understand musically. So it's been cool to we've both changed so much, and thankfully we've both retained close and care for each other so deeply. So it's been really fun to I guess show you my new world, even though like I haven't seen any of I've seen your trailers for your short films, but I haven't actually been able to see any of them. So hopefully that can change. But like, it's been nice to be able to showcase, like bring you into this domain that I'm in now. And it's cool. It's such a great place to be in. And I'm happy I get to share it with you. So.
Absolutely, man. The feeling's mutual. And I think this is, being able to listen to stuff like this with a classical ear is such a cool thing. And being able to kind of look at it from a perspective as somebody who's been so trained into this very specific part of the music world, and be able to use that training to give back to other people. I think that's awesome. And you've completely, this channel, these type of videos, you've completely reinvented yourself. And I celebrate every day the fact that you had the courage to step away from an industry that at the time didn't fully appreciate you, and start your own thing, like with your bare hands, building it from the ground up. You have all my respect and love. I just, I'm happy to be in a video.
Hi, Mom. Hopefully this video gets 5,000 views.
I was going to say, nobody's going to watch this. Just my mom watching it 500 times.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for the ad revenue.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Campy. Love you.
Appreciate it. Anyway, with that, we're stalling the outro. People have already clicked off. With that,
great.
Thank you so much, everybody. Way to go, Zach. You really know how to do this YouTube thing. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, watching this. Feel free to look up Zach's socials and stuff on his in the About section, and check him out in the Golden Globes in about 5 years. So with that, everybody, we'll talk to you later, and bye. See you later.